What's going on, guys? This is Matt from Adventures, and this is the first episode in my gear review show. The idea is that I just want to show you all the gear I've used and I've tested out so you can know what is best for you when you're out on your own adventures. This is the first item I'm going to be reviewing. It's the Ferrino Lightent one. It's an ultralight camping tent. It weighs just about 1 kilo, which makes it super light, and as you can see, very compact as well. It is pretty much the perfect thing for any kind of solo expedition, especially like hikes, cycling and all this good stuff. And it's got some awesome features too, which I'll show you as we set it up. It's also fairly simple for one person to set up by themselves, so let's get into it. First of all, one thing I really like is it comes packed in 2 separate parts. The fly sheet and main inner tent are in here, and then the poles are packed on the outside. So even if you need to do any pole maintenance or just check you have everything, you've got your separate pole case right here and the tent over here. First, we're going to open this up and roll it out on the floor.
When you're turning, don't turn too much, just give it a tiny bit.
Okay. So this one's the main inner tent, and what's really nice about this is you can set it up just by itself without the fly sheet over it. So if you've got a day where you know it's not going to rain, you know there isn't too much humidity, all you've got to do is lay it out flat. The wider edge is the head area, so that's where your head is going to be, and then goes to the toe box. It is a very small compact tent. You can see just by me lying down next to it for proportion's sake, it's just perfect for one person. It's cozy and it's really good. So the next thing we need is going to be the poles, and they are, as we said before, in the separate part of the bag. We're going to just get them out. There are 2 poles in this tent. One is the shorter red pole, which is going on the front, and the longer silver pole going on the back over here, which we're going to start with. Now the first one's in, we'll go for the second. The poles, I forgot to mention, are very lightweight aluminium, so while they are ultra light, they still have a fair amount of strength to them, which is very good when you're looking at tent construction and how durable it's going to be overall. Now that we have both poles in, all we're going to do is insert the sides into the tabs, and you can see the tabs are color coded to the pole so you know where you're going. Just one, and exactly the same thing with a little bit of a bend on the other side. Right here. Don't be scared, you do have to bend it quite a bit, but that is what's going to give the tent its structural rigidity. One thing you might notice is this tent is not going to stand up by itself. It does need to be guyed down. That is going to keep it stretched out and make sure it doesn't collapse on you while you're falling asleep. So let's get into that. There are about 6 structural peg points that need to be done. The 2 corners, which are these 2, and then at least 1 main guy coming out from the top here. We've also got a nice set of pegs, and these are pretty rigid from what I've seen. I've found it pretty hard to bend them on normal terrain. Obviously they're not built for rocks or anything like that, so you might need to invest in your own rock pegs for after. But for now we're just going to use these because the terrain here is like soil and grass, so we can do that. If you don't have a hammer, it's no problem, you can always use a rock. But today we have a hammer, and we will always make do with the most we have. So, the first 2 aren't really the issue because you can just put them pretty much anywhere. It then comes to the opposite side, and that's where you really need to focus on making sure things are in the right place. Okay, 1. I'm setting up the tent like this because there is a slight incline on the hill, so I want to make sure that when sleeping it's going to be comfortable and I'm not going to be rolling side to side. I would rather have my head high and everything else slightly lower. You can also tell we're getting into a little bit of a rock here, but a little bit of a solid hit and we're securely in the ground. So one of the most important things for the structure is, as I said, just having these pegs on the corners. So once you have this down, you need to make sure it's nice and stretched out, so that way you're going to have that nice tent that's not going to be jiggling about. Even if it's windy, you'll be totally secure all night long. The last and final peg, and this tent is standing up all by itself. With that nice and secure, you have the basis of the tent, and this can be used just as it is. So like this, the tent is set up pretty much perfect to be used, especially in the summer months. I've used it like this in the desert, so you can have that nice wind flowing through without feeling too hot. You have one entrance over here, and it is a full mosquito net all the way around, apart from this waterproof lining on the bottom, which is going to be waterproof either way. So if it's not raining, but there is some dampness that collects on the ground, you're going to be protected from that as well, even like this. and you can just get inside all perfect like this, and it is just the right space for one person. You can stay with your arms outstretched like this. Also, if you want to keep this open, that's really easy to do as well. Just roll this up. You've got the hook over here and a little latch to tie it on the inside. Awesome. And that's going to keep the door up. You also have, if you look in here, a little hook on the top. That's going to be perfect for hanging a light, like a head torch or something like that, to keep you illuminated all night long. And you've got the side pockets here, because we all know that if you go in a tent, you have one on each side. If you go in a tent, it's so easy to lose your phone or your keys while you're camping. You wake up the next morning, if you have them running around, your keys can easily poke your ground mat. You don't want that. You want to have them stored and tucked in nice and neatly, and that is really convenient. So I'm going to get out and we're going to put on the top layer of this tent, which is going to be the rain cover. As I said, this is an optional extra, but it's very, very easy to set up. All it is just lay it right over like this. Then you have two simple Velcro tabs, and they hook in to right there, one and the other one right over here, and two. Then you can pull this over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Same thing with the Velcro, one and two. Now we've made this tent very waterproof, up to 3000 millimeters, which is a really good rating on it. I have personally used this tent in storms, full out, and while my other friends have been totally soaked through, I've stayed completely dry for the whole night. It is not built for extreme weather, so you're not going to take this to summit a mountain or anything like that. It doesn't provide a lot of warmth either because of just how open it is. But as a summer tent, it's a really good option, especially when you're considering, as I said, those solo expeditions, those long hikes, those bike trips, etc. Now, just to finish this off, we have a few things that we can note about the fly sheet. First of all, you can attach these pegs to the pegs that you've already sunk in on the other side. So 1 and 2, as well as right on the back. You can do the exact same thing with just 3 and 4. So this is really, really easy. Even if you decide you want to take it off, it's no big deal at all. And then you have these 2 guy ropes, which are going to keep everything nice and taut, which you can pull in as well. Apart from that, you also have the vents over here, so if you do want the protection from the rain, but it's still pretty warm, so that would be like in tropical climates, you have this little tab over here that you can push like that, and you've got that airflow going in through there, and you've got the same exact thing on the front. Okay, that's in and tighten up, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Good. And tighten it up. Again, the tightening mechanism here is super easy, just pull and it's nice and tight. These go in just over where you've pegged the pole, and that's going to keep the fly sheet nice and glued downward, so you have to do that all around. So the last peg is just going to finish this up, and it's going to keep our door stretched out, so just put that in right there. Again, all these are adjustable, so once you peg them in, you can tighten them up after the fact, no problem at all. But make sure everything's tight, because as I said, the tent is based on the tensile structure of the poles. Without any of the pegs in the ground, it could collapse on itself. But right now, as you can see, I'm just going to give it a shake, simulating really strong wind, and it's all good. Now, same with this door, just like the other one. You can open it up, unzip, and roll, 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 roll all the way. On the inside there's that same elastic clip, and you've got that. That is the final tent. Also, because it's so small, you can use this porch area to keep your bag and stuff like that dry. There is just about enough space to lay a pack over there, especially with this draping over it, so you don't have to worry about your pack getting wet in the rain either. And that's pretty much it. So, as for my final review, the plus points of this tent are that it's super small, super light, and pretty easy to set up as long as you have space to peg it down. This is going to be a real hassle to peg if you're on something like rock. You can always use boulders to do kind of the same thing, but it's going to be much more complicated than just pegging it straight into soft ground like this. Or you're going to need to get the appropriate pegs, like rock pegs and stuff like that. Other than that, it is an amazing tent for warmer climates. It can shield you from most elements most of the time, but again, not recommended for any winter sort of stuff. I absolutely love it for the times I've been out. I've even done overland trips to Jordan, to Israel, to Palestine with this tent, and I absolutely love it. So thank you so much to Mochika for giving me this tent. If you want one like it, go check them out. For my international friends who don't live in Malta, I'm going to leave a link to this on Amazon, so you can buy it right there as well, and you'll be supporting my channel every time you do so. If you want to check out more awesome adventure gear, then just follow my channel and I'll be posting a lot more reviews coming soon. And if there's anything you want me to review, just let me know and I'll try and get that done as soon as possible. I'll see you in the next one.